I never thought I'd be telling this story. Never thought my own blood would turn on me, like wolves circling something wounded. But here I am, 73 years breathing on this earth, and I've learned something the hard way. When you get sick, when you're old, when you're inconvenient, that's when you see who people really are. My name is Eleanor. Eleanor Grace Mitchell. And this is what happened when I got cancer at 53, and my family, the people I raised, the people I loved more than my own heartbeat, decided I wasn't worth keeping around anymore. It started with a lump. Nothing dramatic, nothing you'd see in the movies. Just a little hardness under my arm that wouldn't go away. I ignored it for 3 months, maybe 4, because that's what we do, isn't it? We tell ourselves it's nothing, we're fine, we've got too much to do to worry about our own bodies. I was working double shifts at the diner on Route 9, saving up because my son, my only son, had told me he and his wife were struggling with the mortgage. Tommy. My boy Tommy. I'd raised him alone after his daddy, my Walter, died in a construction accident when Tommy was only 12. Worked 3 jobs some years, went without new clothes for a decade, made sure that boy had everything, college money, a car when he turned 16, never went hungry, not once. And he married Vanessa. Vanessa with her sharp smile and sharper eyes, always looking at what other people had, always calculating, always wanting more. But she gave me grandkids. 2 of them, little Chloe and Mason, and I loved those babies like they were my whole world. Because they were. The doctor's office smelled like antiseptic and fear. That's what I remember most. Dr. Chan, nice man, maybe 45, looked at me with those serious eyes doctors get when the news is bad. Eleanor, he said, real gentle. It's breast cancer, stage 2, maybe early stage 3. We need more tests, but we caught it. We can treat this, surgery, chemo, radiation. You're going to fight this and you're going to win. I sat there, hands shaking, purse in my lap, thinking about Walter, wondering if he was waiting for me somewhere, wondering if I was ready to go. But then I thought about Chloe, age 7, who still crawled into my lap when she was sad, and Mason, age 5, who called me Ellie because he couldn't say grandma when he was little. And I thought, no, I'm not done yet. I told Tommy that evening, drove to his house, the nice 4-bedroom colonial I'd helped with the down payment for, my hands still shaking. He opened the door, surprise on his face, because I usually called first. Mom? What are you doing here? I need to talk to you, I said, and my voice cracked just a little, and I hated myself for it, for being weak. Vanessa appeared behind him, wiping her hands on a dish towel, that look on her face, the one that said I was interrupting something. What's going on? She asked, not unkind, not yet, but not warm either. I sat at their kitchen table, the one I'd bought them for Christmas 3 years ago, solid oak, real nice. I went to the doctor today, I said, looking at Tommy, my boy, my only child. I have breast cancer, honey. They say it's treatable, but I'm gonna need some help with the treatments, with getting to appointments. I can't miss work too much or I'll lose my insurance through the diner, but cancer. Tommy went pale, sat down hard in the chair across from me. Vanessa's face did something I couldn't quite read. Something that looked almost like irritation. Stage 2, I said, trying to smile, trying to be strong like I'd always been. Maybe 3, they're running more tests, but Dr. Chun says we caught it in time. I need some support, you know? Maybe help getting to some appointments and... Of course, Mom, Tommy said, reaching across and taking my hand. Of course we'll help. Don't even worry about it. You're gonna beat this. You're the strongest person I know. His wife said nothing. Just stood there, dish towel in her hands, that unreadable expression on her face. The first surgery was in October. Lumpectomy, they called it. Tommy drove me there, waited during the procedure, drove me home to my little rental house on Maple Street, the house I'd lived in for 20 years, small, one bedroom, but it was mine, it was paid for, it was home. He helped me inside, got me settled on the couch, made sure I had water and my pain pills. You need anything, you call me, okay? He said, kissing my forehead like I used to kiss his when he was small. I will, honey, I said, drowsy from the anesthesia. Thank you, I love you. Love you too, Mom. But he didn't come back the next day like he'd promised. Or the day after that. When I finally got him on the phone 3 days later, I could hear his wife in the background, her voice sharp, insistent. Mom, I'm sorry, things are they're really crazy right now. Vanessa's mom is sick too. And we've got the kids' schedules and work is insane. Can you maybe ask one of your friends to help out? Something cold settled in my stomach. Sure, honey, I said, trying to keep my voice light. Sure, I understand you've got a lot going on. But I didn't understand, not really. Not yet. Chemo started in November. Every other Tuesday, like clockwork, poison dripping into my veins, trying to kill the thing inside me that was trying to kill me. My friend Pauline from the diner drove me to the first 3 appointments. Pauline, 61, smoker's cough, bad knees, heart of absolute gold. She'd sit with me for hours, holding my hand when the nausea got bad, making terrible jokes about the wig I'd need when my hair fell out. We should get you a purple one, she said, grinning. Something with some personality, some flair. I'm thinking more Joan Jett, I said, trying to smile. Black, edgy, make me look like a badass. Honey, you're a badass, Pauline said, squeezing my hand. Cancer picked the wrong woman. I loved her for that. For staying when my own son had started to disappear. Thanksgiving was when I first felt it, really felt it. The withdrawal. I'd been invited, of course. Tommy had called, said, "Come for dinner, Mom, 2 o'clock, bring your appetite." But when I arrived, weak, tired, wearing the nice scarf Pauline had bought me to cover my thinning hair, something was different. The house felt cold. Not temperature-wise, just emotionally cold. His wife greeted me at the door with a tight smile, took the pie I'd managed to bake despite feeling like death, said, "Oh, you shouldn't have, you need to rest." But her tone said, "Why did you bother?" The kids, my babies, my Chloe and Mason, barely looked up from their tablets when I came in. "Hey, Ellie's here," I said, trying to sound cheerful, trying to sound like the grandma they knew. "Hi, Grandma," Chloe said, not looking up. Mason said nothing. "They're just distracted," Tommy said too quickly. "You know how kids are with screens." But I'd been there 100 times before, and they'd always jumped up, always hugged me, always wanted to show me things, tell me things. Something had changed. Someone had said something. Dinner was awkward, painful. I sat at the end of the table, the same table I'd bought them, and tried to eat, but the chemo had killed my appetite, made everything taste like metal. Vanessa kept watching me, this look on her face like I was something unpleasant she had to endure. "So how's treatment going?" Tommy asked, cutting his turkey, not meeting my eyes. It's hard," I admitted. "But I'm managing. Dr. Chan says the tumor is shrinking. That's good news." "That's great, Mom," Tommy said, but his voice was flat, rehearsed. His wife cleared her throat. That way she did when she was about to say something she'd been planning. "Eleanor," she said, my name sounding wrong in her mouth, too formal. "Tommy and I have been talking and we think you should consider maybe moving somewhere. with more support like an assisted living facility just temporarily while you go through treatment. The room went silent. Even the kids looked up. Assisted living? I said, my voice barely a whisper. I'm 53 years old. I can take care of myself. Can you though? She said, and there it was, the sharpness I'd always known was underneath. You're sick, you're weak, you live alone. What if something happens? What if you fall? What if? I'm fine, I said, louder than I meant to, and Mason's eyes went wide. I'm handling this. I have friends helping me. I don't need to be put away like some old broken thing. No one's saying that, Tommy said, but he wouldn't look at me. We're just worried, Mom, we think. You think, or she thinks? I snapped, looking at Vanessa, and oh, the look she gave me back, pure ice. I think we're trying to be practical, she said, her voice hard. About what's best for everyone. Everyone. Not me. Everyone else. I left before dessert. Drove home with tears streaming down my face, my hands shaking on the wheel, thinking about what just happened, what had just been said. They wanted me gone. Out of sight, out of mind. Convenient. December came, and with it the bills. Medical bills, huge ones, because my insurance from the diner only covered so much, and there were co-pays, deductibles, medications that cost $300 a pop. I started using my savings, the little bit I'd managed to put away over the years. Then I started using Walter's life insurance money, the small policy that had been sitting untouched, because I'd always told myself that was for emergencies. Well, this was an emergency. By Christmas, I'd burned through $15,000. I wasn't invited to Christmas. Tommy called on December 23rd. Voice tight, uncomfortable. Hey Mom, so Vanessa's family is coming this year, and the house is it's gonna be really crowded, and with you being sick, we thought maybe you'd want a quiet Christmas, rest up? I sat on my couch holding the phone, staring at the little tree I'd put up, the ornaments I'd collected over 50 years. You don't want me there, I said. It's not that, Mom, it's just. It's fine, Tommy, I said, and my voice sounded dead even to my own ears. I understand you have a nice Christmas with her family. Mom! I hung up, sat there in the silence in my little house, and cried until I couldn't cry anymore. Pauline came over on Christmas Day with a plate of food and a bottle of cheap wine. Screw them, she said, settling onto my couch. We're having our own Christmas, and it's gonna be better than whatever fancy crap they're doing. We ate, we drank, we watched old movies, and I loved her more than I'd ever loved anyone except Walter and Tommy. Why are they doing this? I asked her sometime after midnight, both of us a little drunk, a little sad. I'm his mother, I gave him everything, why? Pauline looked at me with those tired, kind eyes. Because people are scared of cancer, she said. Scared of death. Scared of what it means. Scared of being reminded that they're not immortal. And sometimes they deal with that fear by pushing away the person who's reminding them. But I'm his mother, I said again, like if I said it enough times it would matter. I know, honey, Pauline said, putting her arm around me. I know. January brought a new horror. Vanessa called me, not Tommy. Her voice all business, all cold efficiency. Eleanor, we need to talk about your finances, she said, no preamble, no how are you feeling? Nothing. My finances? I said, confused. What about them? Tommy and I have been looking at your medical bills, and frankly we're concerned you're burning through money fast, and at this rate you won't have anything left. We think it's time to make some difficult decisions. My blood went cold. What kind of decisions? I asked. Well, your house for one, she said like she was discussing the weather. It's not much, but it's probably worth, what, 120,000? Maybe more in this market. If you sold it, you could use that money for treatment, and then you'd move in with us temporarily until you're back on your feet. Move in with them. Sell my house, my home, the place Walter and I had lived, where I'd raised Tommy, where every corner held a memory. No, I said. No. Her voice sharpened. Eleanor, you're not thinking clearly. You need this treatment, and you're running out of money. This is the logical solution. I said, no. I said louder. This is my house. Walter and I bought this house. I'm not selling it. I'll figure something else out. You're being selfish, she said, and I could hear the anger now. You're being stubborn and stupid, and you're not thinking about what this is doing to Tommy, to us. We're trying to help you, and you're... I hung up on her. Sat there shaking, furious, terrified. They started keeping the kids away after that. I'd call, ask to see Chloe and Mason, and there was always an excuse. They have soccer. They're doing homework. They're at a friend's house. They're tired. I drove by their house once in February just to know if they were lying. Saw both kids playing in the front yard, laughing, happy. I parked down the street and watched them. These beautiful children I'd loved from the moment they were born, and felt my heart break into pieces. They hadn't forgotten me. They'd been told to forget me. March was radiation 5 days a week, burns on my chest like someone had held a hot iron to me. Pauline still drove me when she could, but she'd gotten sick herself, pneumonia, and I told her to rest, told her I could manage. I took the bus most days, sat there with the burned skin under my shirt screaming, watching people avoid looking at me because I looked like what I was, sick, dying, a reminder of everything they feared. I lost my job at the diner in March too. You're calling out too much, the manager said, not unkindly but firmly. I need someone I can count on, Eleanor, I'm sorry. So there went my insurance. There went my income. There went any sense of security I'd had left. April was when Tommy came to me with the papers. Legal papers. Power of attorney papers. Mom, we think, given your condition, given everything that's happening, it would be smart for me to have power of attorney, just in case, just to make things easier. I looked at my son, this man I'd raised, and didn't recognize him anymore. Power of attorney means you can make decisions for me, I said slowly, about my money, my property, my medical care. Only if you can't, Tommy said, but he wouldn't meet my eyes. It's just a precaution, Mom. Vanessa was there too, standing behind him, watching me with those calculating eyes. No, I said. Mom. No, I said again. I'm not giving you control of my life, Tommy. I'm still here. I'm still capable. I'm not signing anything. You're being difficult, she said, stepping forward. You're being paranoid and difficult. We're trying to help you. Get out, I said, standing up despite the pain, despite the exhaustion. Both of you get out of my house. Mom, come on. Get out. I screamed, and oh God, it felt good to scream, to let out some of the rage and hurt I'd been holding. Get out and don't come back. They left, and I didn't hear from them for 6 weeks. 6 weeks of silence. 6 weeks of wondering if I'd done the right thing. 6 weeks of thinking about Chloe and Mason, missing them so much it physically hurt. Dr. Chun said the cancer was responding to treatment, that I was doing well, all things considered. But I felt like I was dying anyway, just not from cancer. May brought a surprise. A visitor I wasn't expecting. Pauline's nephew, a lawyer named Gregory, maybe 35, sharp dresser, sharper mind. My aunt asked me to check on you, he said, sitting in my little living room. She's worried about you, about what your family is trying to do. There's nothing to do, I said tiredly. I'm not giving them anything. Good, Gregory said. Because I did some digging just out of curiosity, and I found something interesting about your late husband's employment. I looked up, confusion on my face. Walter? He died 20 years ago. What about his employment? Gregory pulled out a folder, opened it, showed me documents I didn't understand. Walter worked for Morrison Construction for 18 years, right? He said. Right. And he died on the job in an accident. Yes, I said, the pain of that day still fresh after all these years. Morrison Construction had a life insurance policy on all their long-term employees, Gregory said, speaking slowly, carefully. A big policy, separate from the individual policies, meant for the families in case of workplace death. My heart started beating faster. I got a life insurance payment, I said. $40,000. I used it to pay off the house to send Tommy to college. That was his individual policy, Gregory said. The company policy was separate, bigger, much bigger, and according to these records it was never claimed, or it was claimed but not by you. What? I whispered. What are you saying? Gregory looked uncomfortable now, like he didn't want to tell me what came next. The company policy was for $350,000, he said quietly, and according to Morrison's records a claim was filed 8 months after Walter's death. But the claimant wasn't you, Eleanor, it was your sister-in-law, Walter's sister, who apparently had Walter's old safe deposit box key and found documents naming her as beneficiary, or at least that's what she claimed. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. Patricia, I said, barely breathing. Walter's sister Patricia? She took money that should have been mine? That should have gone to Tommy. It appears so, Gregory said. But here's the thing, the documents she provided, they're questionable. I think they might be forgeries. And if they are, you might have a case to recover that money even after all these years, especially since you were never informed of the policy's existence, which is illegal. $350,000. Money that could have changed everything, money that could have paid for Tommy's college without me working myself to death. Money that could have given us security, safety, a life. And Patricia, Walter's bitter sister who'd hated me from day one, who'd blamed me for Walter's death even though I wasn't anywhere near that construction site, had taken it. Why are you telling me this? I asked Gregory, tears streaming down my face. Why now? Because my aunt loves you, he said simply. And because it's not too late, Eleanor, we can go after Patricia, we can get what's rightfully yours, or at least some of it, and you can use that money for your treatment, for your life, without having to rely on people who don't deserve your trust. I sat there, this broken woman in a broken body, and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. The next part happened fast. Gregory filed suit against Patricia in June, alleging fraud, forgery, and misappropriation of funds. Patricia, now 70, living in Florida on money that should have been mine, tried to fight it, but Gregory was good, really good, and the evidence was damning. The documents she'd provided to claim that money, they were forgeries, clumsy ones, and the original policy, the real one, named me and Tommy as co-beneficiaries. She'd stolen from a widow and a fatherless child. And the judge was, let's just say, not sympathetic. But here's where it gets interesting, where everything I thought I knew turned upside down. While going through Walter's old papers, documents Patricia had kept in storage and was forced to turn over during discovery, Gregory found something else. A letter. A letter in Walter's handwriting, dated 1 week before he died, addressed to me. The envelope had never been opened, had been sitting in a box with old tax returns and pay stubs for 20 years. Gregory brought it to me in July, handed it over like it was made of glass. "I think you should read this alone," he said gently. "Take your time." I waited until Pauline left that evening, until I was by myself in my quiet little house. Then I opened the envelope, hands shaking, pulled out 2 pages of Walter's messy handwriting, and I started to read. "My dearest Eleanor, if you're reading this, something's happened to me. I hope you never have to read this. I hope we grow old together, watch Tommy grow up, have grandkids, all of it. But I work a dangerous job and I'm not stupid. Accidents happen. So I'm writing this just in case. First, I love you more than anything in this world. You and Tommy are my whole heart. Second, I need to tell you about the insurance, the big policy through Morrison, $350,000 if I die on the job. I made you and Tommy the beneficiaries, equal split, $175 each. That's enough to pay off the house, send Tommy to school, give you security. The policy number is attached. Call Morrison's HR. They'll help you file the claim. Third, and this is hard to write, but you need to know. My sister Patricia, she's going to try to take things from you after I'm gone. She's always been jealous of you, of us, of what we have. And she's never forgiven me for choosing you over family, whatever that means. She has a key to my old safe deposit box. I gave it to her years ago when we were still close, before you and I got married. I've been meaning to get it back, to close that box, but I keep forgetting. If something happens to me, change the locks, get a new box, don't let her near our important papers. She'll act like she's helping, like she cares, but she doesn't. She only cares about money, about what she can get. Don't trust her, Eleanor. Don't let her take anything from you and Tommy. Fourth, about Tommy. Our boy, our beautiful, smart boy. Raise him right, teach him to be strong but kind, to work hard but to value family above all else. Don't let him become someone who puts money over people, who forgets where he came from. I'm so proud of him already, proud of the man he's going to become. Make sure he knows I loved him, that I'd be proud of him no matter what. And finally, about you. You're the strongest woman I've ever known. You're going to be fine without me, even though I hate that thought, hate imagining you without me. But you'll survive, you'll thrive, you'll keep going because that's who you are. Don't let anyone make you feel small. Don't let anyone take advantage of your kindness. You're worth more than you know, Eleanor Grace Mitchell. I love you. Forever and always. Your Walter. I read it 3 times. Then I sat on my couch and sobbed for Walter, for the life we'd had, for the warning I'd never received. Patricia had tried to take from me, had succeeded in taking from me, and I'd never known, never fought back, never protected what was mine. And Tommy. Oh God, Tommy. Walter had worried about that, about him becoming someone who valued money over family. And he'd been right to worry. The lawsuit settled in August. Patricia didn't want to go to trial, didn't want the fraud charges that would certainly follow if she lost. She agreed to pay back the full $350,000, plus 20 years of interest, plus Gregory's legal fees. The total came to just over $600,000. Half for me, half for Tommy. Gregory cut the checks in early September. handed me mine $300,000 in a little office that smelled like coffee and old books. "This is yours, Eleanor," he said, smiling. "Every penny of it. What do you want to do first?" I looked at the check, this piece of paper that represented security, freedom, everything I'd been drowning without. "I want to pay my medical bills," I said. "Every single one. I don't want to owe anyone anything." "Done," Gregory said. "What else?" "I want to set up a trust, something that can't be touched in case I get sick again, in case I need long-term care. I don't want to be at anyone's mercy ever again." "Smart," Gregory said, making notes. "We can do that. Anything else?" I thought about Pauline, about everything she'd done, about the friendship that had saved my life. "I want to give my friend Pauline $50,000, I said. "She needs a new car, she needs to fix her roof, she needs to stop worrying so much about money. And she deserves something good for being so good to me." Gregory smiled bigger this time. "She's lucky to have you," he said. "I'm lucky to have her," I corrected. Tommy showed up 3 days after the money hit my account. I don't know how he knew. Maybe Gregory's office had contacted him about his share. Maybe Patricia had called him in a rage, I don't know. But there he was, standing on my porch, looking uncomfortable. "Hey, Mom," he said. "Can I come in?" I stood in the doorway, looking at this stranger who used to be my son. "Why?" I asked. I heard about the settlement, about the money. I wanted to talk to you about it." "Of course. The money. Always the money. You got your half," I said coldly. $300,000. That's what your father wanted you to have. It's yours. I can't touch it even if I wanted to." "I know, I wanted to say thank you and to talk about maybe helping you with your medical bills since you've been struggling." I laughed. Couldn't help it, just laughed bitter and hard. "I paid my medical bills, Tommy, all of them. I'm fine. I don't need your help." He looked surprised, then embarrassed, then, and this was what killed me, he looked disappointed. Like he'd been hoping I'd still need him, still need his help, his support, which really meant his control. "Oh," he said. That's good, that's great, Mom. Anything else?" I asked, my hand on the door, ready to close it. I know things have been weird between us, and I'm sorry, Vanessa and we were just worried and—" "Don't," I said, cutting him off. "Don't lie to me, don't insult me by pretending this was about worry. This was about control, about money, about getting rid of me so I wouldn't be a burden, so you could, take my house? Control my medical decisions? Put me away somewhere?" "Mom, that's not—" "Yes, it is," I said, and I was crying now, couldn't help it. 20 years of love and 5 months of betrayal all pouring out. "That's exactly what it was. You abandoned me, Tommy, when I needed you most, when I was sick, when I was scared. You walked away, you let that woman poison you against me, and you kept my grandchildren from me like I was something dangerous, something shameful. I didn't. We were just—" "Get off my porch," I said, my voice shaking with rage. "Get off my porch and don't come back. You got your father's money, you got what you wanted, now leave me alone." "Mom!" I slammed the door in his face, stood there with my back against it, listening to him stand there for a long moment before finally walking away. Vanessa tried next. Called me 2 weeks later, voice all sweetness and light. "Eleanor, hi, it's Vanessa. I wanted to apologize for everything. We handled things badly. We were stressed and worried, and we took it out on you. That wasn't fair." I said nothing, just waited. "And I wanted to invite you to dinner," she continued. This Friday the kids miss you so much. They keep asking when they can see Grandma Eleanor. And I thought it was time to fix this, to be a family again. What does Tommy think about this? I asked. Pause, just a slight hesitation. He agrees, he wants this too. We both do. Please, Eleanor, let us make this right. Tell me something, I said, keeping my voice level calm. Did you know about Patricia? About what she did? Another pause, longer this time. I don't know what you mean. Did you know that Walter's sister stole $350,000 from me and Tommy 20 years ago? Did you know, and is that why you suddenly wanted me to sell my house to give Tommy power of attorney, because you thought I had money hidden somewhere? Or you thought you could get control before I found out about this? Silence on the other end. Then in a harder voice, I think you're being paranoid, Eleanor. Grief and illness can do that. Make you suspicious of people who love you. Answer the question, I said. I don't have to answer anything, she snapped, the mask slipping completely. You're the one who cut us off, who slammed doors in our faces, who's being bitter and vindictive. We tried to help you, and you threw it back in our faces, and now that you have money, suddenly you don't need us? I never needed your help, I said quietly. I needed your love, your support, your presence. I needed my son to hold my hand while poison dripped into my veins. I needed my grandchildren to remind me why I was fighting. But you took that away. You chose to take that away. So no, I won't be coming to dinner. I won't be giving you another chance to hurt me. And you can tell Tommy the same thing. I hung up, blocked both their numbers, changed the locks on my doors even though they'd never had keys. October came. 1 year since my diagnosis. I sat in Dr. Chen's office, waiting for test results, prepared for anything, prepared for the worst. Eleanor, he said, smiling, actually smiling. You're in remission, complete remission, no signs of cancer, your scans are clear, your blood work is perfect, you beat it. I cried, right there in his office, tears of relief and gratitude and exhaustion. What now? I asked, wiping my eyes. What happens now? Now you live, Dr. Chan said simply. You'll need regular checkups, screenings, but Eleanor, you're healthy, you're going to be fine. I sold my house in November. Not because anyone forced me to, not because I needed the money, but because I wanted to. Wanted a fresh start, wanted to live somewhere without ghosts, without memories of waiting by the phone for a son who never called. Bought a little condo in a retirement community 40 minutes away. Nice place, pool, clubhouse, people my age who didn't look at me like I was dying. Pauline moved to the same community, 2 buildings over. Bought her place cash with the money I'd given her. We had coffee every morning, dinner twice a week, and sometimes we just sat together in comfortable silence, 2 survivors, 2 friends, 2 women who'd made it through. I never heard from Tommy or his wife again. Sometimes I thought about reaching out, about trying to build some kind of bridge for the kids' sake if nothing else. But then I really remembered how it felt to be abandoned, to be treated like a burden, to be valued only for what I could provide. And I decided I didn't need that in my life. Not anymore. On what would have been Walter's 73rd birthday, I drove to his grave. Hadn't been there in years, too painful, too raw, even after all this time. But I needed to tell him something, needed him to hear it, even if he was just bones and memory now. I sat on the grass next to his headstone, traced his name with my fingers. I found your letter, I said out loud, not caring if anyone heard. 20 years late, but I found it, and Walter, you were right about Patricia, about everything. The wind picked up, rustled through the trees overhead, and I pretended it was him listening. I got the money back, I continued. All of it with interest, and I used it to save myself, to build a life, a good life. You'd be proud, I think. I paused, wiping tears I hadn't realized were falling. But Tommy, I said, and my voice broke, Walter, you were right about that too, about watching what kind of man he became. And I failed. I let him become someone who values money over people, over family, over his own mother. And I don't know if that's my fault or his wife's fault or just who he is, but it hurts, God, it hurts so much. I sat there for a long time talking to my dead husband, telling him everything, the cancer, the treatment, the abandonment, the betrayal, the money, the rebirth. All of it. I miss you, I finally said, standing up, my knees aching, my body still healing but stronger now, so much stronger. I miss you every single day, but I'm okay, Walter, I'm actually okay. I survived just like you knew I would. I kissed my fingers, pressed them to his headstone, and walked away. Christmas came again, my second Christmas alone, except not alone, not really. Pauline and I hosted a dinner at the clubhouse in our community. Invited everyone who didn't have family nearby. Everyone who was spending the holidays solo. 14 people showed up, ages ranging from 58 to 86, and we had ham and turkey and way too many desserts, and we laughed, actually laughed, told stories, sang off-key carols. This is nice, Pauline said to me around midnight. Both of us cleaning up while everyone else had gone home. This is family, you know? Not blood, but family anyway. Yeah, I agreed. Chosen family, the best kind. I thought that was the end of it. Thought the story was over, neat and tidy, woman survives cancer and betrayal, builds new life, the end. But life doesn't work that way. January brought a knock on my door. A small knock, tentative, barely audible. I opened it, expecting a neighbor or a delivery, and instead found Chloe. My granddaughter, now 8 years old, taller, older, but still those same eyes, Walter's eyes. She was alone. Grandma, she said, her voice small, uncertain. I crouched down, despite my knees screaming in protest, got on her level. Baby? What are you doing here? Where are your parents? Mom and Dad are fighting, she said, tears starting to flow. They fight all the time now about money, about everything, and Mom said some really mean things about you, and I remembered your address from before, from when we used to visit, and I took the bus. I wanted to see you. I miss you, Grandma. My heart, my broken, battered heart, cracked wide open. Oh, sweetie, I said, pulling her into my arms, breathing in the smell of her hair, kid shampoo and strawberries. Come inside, come on, let's get you warm. Does anyone know you're here? She shook her head against my shoulder. They think I'm at my friend Mia's house. I called Tommy, had to unblock his number first. Listened to it ring 5 times before he picked up. Hello. His voice was wary, suspicious. Your daughter is here, I said without preamble. She's safe, she's with me. She took a bus by herself because apparently you and your wife are too busy fighting to notice your 8-year-old leaving the house. What? Panic in his voice now, real raw. Chloe's there? Oh God, we thought she was at a friend's house. How did she? She remembered my address, I said flatly. From when you used to let her visit, before you decided I wasn't worth keeping around. Mom. We've been looking for her. Vanessa's calling everyone. I need to come get her. I need to. She's staying tonight, I said, and my voice had steel in it, grandmother steel, the kind that doesn't bend. She's upset, she's exhausted, she's safe here. You can come get her tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., not before. Mom, I'm her father, And I'm her grandmother, I said. And she came to me, Tommy, she ran to me, so you think about that, you think real hard about what that means. and I'll see you tomorrow at 9. I hung up. Chloe and I made hot chocolate, the real kind, with marshmallows and whipped cream. We sat on my couch, my small, comfortable couch in my small, comfortable condo, and I let her talk. Dad got a lot of money, she said, stirring her cocoa, like a lot. From some lawsuit or something, and he and Mom keep fighting about what to do with it. Mom wants to buy a bigger house, Dad wants to invest it, and they yell all the time and Mason cries, and I wanted to go somewhere quiet. I'm sorry, baby, I said, stroking her hair. That must be really hard. Mom says you're mean, Chloe continued, looking up at me with those serious eyes. She says you're bitter and angry and you hate us, but I don't think that's true, is it? You don't hate us. I had to swallow hard. Force down the rage that rose up at his wife poisoning my grandchildren against me. No, sweetie, I said, keeping my voice gentle. I don't hate you. I could never hate you or your brother. I love you both more than anything in the world. I always have. Then why don't we see you anymore? She asked, and the pain in her voice nearly destroyed me. Because sometimes, I said carefully, choosing my words like walking through a minefield. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, sometimes they let fear or anger or other things get in the way of love. And your dad and we had a disagreement about some grown-up stuff and we haven't fixed it yet. Can you fix it? She asked, hopeful, so heartbreakingly hopeful. I don't know, baby, I said honestly. I really don't know. She fell asleep on my couch around 10. Curled up under a blanket I'd crocheted years ago. I sat and watched her, this beautiful child, this piece of my heart, and felt something shift inside me. Maybe I couldn't have a relationship with Tommy and his wife. Maybe that bridge was burned, ash and rubble, too damaged to rebuild. But Chloe, Mason, they were innocent. They didn't choose this, didn't ask for their parents to be broken people. They deserved better. They deserved a grandmother who fought for them. Tommy arrived at 9 a.m. exactly, looking like he hadn't slept. His wife was with him, face tight, angry. I opened the door, stood in the doorway, didn't invite them in. She's still sleeping, I said quietly. You'll wake her if you talk loud. We need to take her home, Vanessa said, trying to push past me. I didn't move. You'll take her when I say you can take her, I said, matching her tone. And first we're going to have a conversation, an adult conversation about what happens next. You don't get to dictate, she started. Yes, I do, I said louder now, and I saw Tommy flinch. Because that little girl in there, she's 8 years old and she took a bus alone to get away from your fighting, from your toxicity, from whatever hell you two have created in that house. So yes, I absolutely get to dictate terms here. Mom, Tommy started. You abandoned me, I said, looking at him, really looking at him. When I had cancer, when I was dying, you walked away, you let that woman poison you against me. And I've made peace with that. I've accepted that you're not the son I raised, that somewhere along the way you became someone I don't recognize. He looked like I'd slapped him. But those kids, I continued, pointing inside, Chloe and Mason, they don't deserve to lose their grandmother because you're broken. They don't deserve to be used as weapons or shields or bargaining chips in whatever war you two are fighting. No one's using them as, she said. Shut up, I snapped, and she actually took a step back. You've been poisoning them against me, telling them I'm bitter, I hate them. Well, guess what? Chloe's smart, she's smart enough to know when she's being lied to. And she came here, she ran here because she needed safety, she needed love. She needed someone who isn't drowning in their own dysfunction. You can't, she tried again. Here's what's going to happen, I said, speaking over her. I'm going to be part of my grandchildren's lives again. I'm going to see them regularly without you two hovering or monitoring or controlling the narrative. And if you don't agree to that, if you try to keep them from me again, I will take you to court. I will sue for grandparent visitation rights, and trust me, I have the money now to make your lives absolutely miserable until I get what I want. Silence. Tommy and his wife looked at each other, some silent communication passing between them. Fine, Tommy finally said, his voice defeated. Fine, Mom, you can see them. We'll work out a schedule. Every other weekend, I said immediately. Friday after school until Sunday evening, and one weeknight dinner per week, your choice which night. That's too much, she started. That's non-negotiable, I said coldly. And if you violate it, if you try to manipulate them or turn them against me during the time they're with you, the deal's off and I go to my lawyer, understand? Another long pause. Then Tommy nodded. Okay, he said. Okay, Mom, we agree. Chloe woke up around 9:30, groggy, confused about where she was, then remembered. Grandma, she called out. Right here, baby, I said, going to her, sitting on the edge of the couch. Your parents are here. It's time to go home. Her face fell. Do I have to? Yeah, sweetie, you do, I said gently. But guess what? You're going to come back and visit me every other weekend starting this Friday. How does that sound? Her whole face lit up like Christmas morning. Really? 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 I said, hugging her tight. And you can bring Mason too. We'll do fun stuff, go to the park, bake cookies, watch movies, whatever you want. Can we get ice cream? She asked, her voice muffled against my shoulder. Every single time. I promised, and I meant it. They left 20 minutes later, Chloe looking back at me from the car window, waving until they turned the corner and disappeared. I stood on my porch watching them go, feeling something I hadn't felt in over a year. Connected. Like I had a reason again. That Friday, Tommy dropped both kids off at 5 p.m. sharp. He didn't come to the door, just let them out of the car and drove away fast, like he couldn't get away quick enough. But I didn't care. I had my baby's back. Chloe hugged me so hard I thought my ribs might crack, and Mason, my little Mason who I hadn't seen in months, just stood there looking shy and uncertain. Hey Mason, I said, crouching down again. Remember me? I'm your Ellie. He nodded, still not speaking. He's been really quiet lately, Chloe whispered to me. Since Mom and Dad started fighting all the time. My heart broke a little more. Well, I said, standing up, taking both their hands. We're gonna have a really fun weekend, okay? No fighting, no yelling, just us having a good time. Sound good? Mason finally smiled, small but real. Yeah, he said softly. That sounds good, Ellie. That weekend we made cookies, went to the park, fed the ducks at the pond near my condo, watched cartoons, ate too much ice cream. We laughed. God, we laughed. And it felt like coming back to life, like remembering who I used to be before cancer, before betrayal, before everything fell apart. Sunday evening came too fast. Tommy picked them up at 6, still wouldn't come to the door, just texted that he was outside. I don't want to go, Chloe said, her voice sad. Can't we stay longer? Not this time, baby, I said, helping them gather their things. But you'll be back in 2 weeks, I promise, and we'll do it all over again. Do you promise? Mason asked, looking up at me with those worried eyes. I promise. I said, crossing my heart. Wild horses couldn't keep me away. The weeks fell into a rhythm after that. Every other weekend with the kids, one dinner during the week, usually Wednesday. Tommy and his wife kept their distance, drop-offs and pickups handled like business transactions. No conversations, no eye contact, just the exchange of children like we were strangers. And maybe we were. Maybe that's what we'd become. But I had Chloe and Mason, and they were healing slowly, becoming more themselves, laughing more, talking more, trusting that this was permanent, that I wasn't going anywhere. March brought another surprise. Pauline and I were having coffee one morning when she said, real casual, "So I've been thinking about starting a support group." "A support group?" I said. "For what?" "For people like us," she said. "People who've had cancer, people who've been abandoned by family during treatment, people who need to know they're not alone. I was thinking we could meet here at the clubhouse once a week, just talk, share stories, support each other." I looked at my friend, this woman who'd saved my life in more ways than one. "That's a really good idea," I said slowly. "Yeah, let's do it." We started the group in April, posted flyers around the community, reached out to the local cancer center, spread the word. 8 people showed up to the first meeting. By the third meeting, we had 23. Stories poured out, painful, raw, real. A man named Harold, 67, whose 3 adult children had stopped visiting during his prostate cancer treatment, too busy with their own lives. A woman named Iris, 59, whose husband had divorced her 6 months into her breast cancer treatment, said he couldn't handle it. A younger woman named Keisha, 48, whose siblings had pressured her to sign over her house for her own good when she was too weak from chemo to fight back. Story after story after story. And every single one of them, they thought they were alone, thought they were the only ones, thought it was somehow their fault. "It's not your fault," I told them over and over. "You didn't do anything wrong, you got sick, and the people who were supposed to love you, they failed you. They failed, not you." Summer came, hot and bright and full of life. I was 2 years cancer-free, healthy, strong, alive. The kids spent more time with me, whole weeks during summer break, and we went to the beach, to the zoo, to the movies, everywhere I'd wanted to take them before but couldn't. Tommy's marriage was falling apart. I could tell from the kids' stories. The fighting had gotten worse. His wife was talking about separation, about taking her fair share. Part of me felt bad for him. Part of me felt like maybe this was karma coming back around. Mostly I just felt sad that he'd let money and a toxic woman destroy what could have been a good life. September brought the call I'd been half expecting, half dreading. Tommy, his voice rough, tired. "Mom? Can we talk?" I sat down on my couch, prepared myself. "What about?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. "Vanessa left," he said, and I could hear the pain in his voice. "Took half the money from the settlement, filed for divorce. She's asking for full custody of the kids. And I don't know what to do, Mom. I don't know how to fix this." I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. "Why are you calling me, Tommy?" I asked quietly. Because you're my mom, and I made a mistake, a huge mistake, and I don't know how to fix it." "Which mistake?" I asked. "Abandoning me when I had cancer? Trying to take my house? Keeping your children from me for over a year? Letting that woman poison you against your own mother? Which specific mistake are you talking about?" Silence on the other end. Then quietly, "All of them." "I'm sorry," Tommy said, and he was crying now. I could hear it. I'm so sorry, Mom. You're right about everything. I let her get in my head. I was scared about money, about losing the house, about everything, and I took it out on you, and that was wrong. That was so wrong. And I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve it, but I'm sorry. I sat there listening to my son cry, this man who'd hurt me so deeply, and felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. Just tired. Okay, I said. Okay? He repeated, confused. Okay, I hear you. You're sorry. Thank you for saying that. That's it, he asked. You're not gonna yell at me? Tell me how much I hurt you. What would be the point? I said, you know what you did, Tommy. You were there, you made choices, and now you're living with the consequences. I don't need to pile on. I want to fix this, he said desperately. I want to make things right between us. Is that possible? Can we try? I thought about it, really thought about it. About whether I wanted to let him back in. Whether I could let him back in. I don't know, I said honestly. I don't trust you anymore, Tommy. You broke something when you walked away, and I don't know if it can be fixed, but for the kids' sake, maybe we can try to be civil, cordial, maybe work our way up from there. I'll take it, he said quickly. I'll take whatever you're willing to give, Mom. I don't want to lose you completely. You almost did, I said softly. You came this close to losing me forever. And the only reason you didn't is because your daughter was brave enough to get on a bus and find me. Remember that. I will, he said. I promise I will. It's been 3 years now since my diagnosis. 3 years since my world fell apart and I had to build it back up from nothing. Tommy and I were working on it. Slowly. He comes to Sunday dinner sometimes, sits at my little table, eats my cooking, tries to make small talk. It's awkward, painful sometimes, but we're trying. His ex-wife, I don't see her, don't want to. The divorce was ugly, full of accusations and lawyers and fights over money. She got half of everything, including half of Tommy's settlement money. He's broke now, living in a small apartment, working 2 jobs to make ends meet. Karma's a funny thing. The kids live with him during the week, with me every weekend. They're doing better, therapy helps, time helps, stability helps. Chloe's 10 now, smart as a whip, wants to be a lawyer when she grows up. To help people who can't help themselves. Mason's 7, quiet but happy, loves drawing, fills my fridge with his artwork. They call me every night before bed, tell me about their day, ask when they can come over. They're my reason, my purpose, my joy. The support group is still going strong, 35 regular members now, and we've helped each other through so much. Harold reconnected with one of his daughters, baby steps, but it's something. Iris is dating again, found a good man who doesn't run when things get hard. Keisha got her house back, sued her siblings and won, serves them right. We're survivors, all of us, and we're building lives worth living. I think about Walter sometimes, wonder what he'd think of how everything turned out. I think he'd be proud of me for fighting, for surviving, for not letting them break me. I think he'd be disappointed in Tommy, but hopeful too, because Tommy's trying. Really trying to be better. And I think he'd love what I've built. This community, this chosen family, this life. Yesterday was my 56th birthday. Pauline threw me a party at the clubhouse, invited everyone, the whole support group, neighbors, friends, even Tommy and the kids. There was cake and music and laughter, so much laughter. Chloe made me a card. Drew a picture of the 2 of us holding hands, wrote inside, to the best grandma in the world, thank you for never giving up. I cried when I read it. Happy tears this time. Tommy pulled me aside at the end of the night, when most people had left. Mom, he said, looking nervous. I wanted to give you something. He handed me an envelope, similar to the one Gregory had given me years ago with Walter's letter. What is this? I asked. Open it, he said softly. Inside was a letter, in Tommy's handwriting, dated today. I read it standing there while he watched. Dear Mom, I don't have the words to tell you how sorry I am for what I did to you. I abandoned you when you needed me most. I let fear and greed turn me into someone I don't recognize, someone Dad would be ashamed of. I can't take back what I did, I can't undo the pain I caused, but I can promise you this. I will spend the rest of my life trying to be the son you deserve, the son Dad wanted me to be. I will teach my children to value family over money, to stand by the people they love no matter what. I will never let anyone come between us again. You are the strongest, most amazing woman I've ever known, and I'm so lucky to be your son, even though I haven't acted like it. Thank you for not giving up on me, on Chloe and Mason, on us. Thank you for showing me what real strength looks like. I love you, Mom. Always. Your son, Tommy. I folded the letter carefully, put it back in the envelope, looked at my son. This is a start, I said, and my voice was gentle. Just a start, Tommy, you understand that? I know, he said, nodding. I know, and I'm ready to do the work, whatever it takes. I hugged him then, this broken man who used to be my little boy, and felt something shift, something heal just a little bit. Maybe we'd be okay. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday. I'm 73 years old and I've learned some hard truths. Cancer doesn't just attack your body, it reveals who people really are. When you're sick, when you're vulnerable, when you're inconvenient, that's when you see the truth. Some people will run. Some people will use your weakness against you. Some people will try to take everything you have left. But some people, the real ones, the ones worth keeping, they'll stay. They'll hold your hand during chemo. They'll drive you to appointments. They'll sit with you in the dark and remind you why you're fighting. Those are your people. Not the ones who share your blood, but the ones who show up, who choose you, who stand by you when standing by you costs them something. I survived cancer. But more than that, I survived the people who tried to destroy me while I was down. I survived betrayal, abandonment, financial manipulation, all of it. And I came out stronger, wiser, with better boundaries and a chosen family that actually loves me. So if you're reading this, if you're going through something similar, if your family has turned on you during the hardest time of your life, I want you to know something. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You got sick, you got old, you became inconvenient, and they showed you who they really are. Believe them, and then build something better. Find your Pauline, your Gregory, your chosen family. Fight for yourself when no one else will. Set boundaries that protect your heart, and know that you are worth fighting for. Even if the people who were supposed to love you don't see it. I'm Eleanor Grace Mitchell. I'm a cancer survivor, a grandmother, a friend, a fighter. And I'm still here. Still standing. Still living. And that right there is my victory. Not the money, not the revenge, not watching karma catch up to the people who hurt me. Just being here. Being alive. Being free. That's everything. The end.